Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bitch and Brainstorm podcast. I am your host, Elaine the Brain Terso, and I'm here with my friend, Miss Windy Lawson, who is going
Whoop,
to be
whoop.
one of our speakers on the productivity habits and the get shit done panel on April 20th at 9:25 a.m. Pacific time. You are not going to want to miss that conversation. This is our biggest panel that we have. With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 panelists on this panel. It's going to be fire, 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 fire. So, Miss Windy, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Hello, darling. It's so good to see you today. A little bit about myself. Well, I find firemen very hot, so I'm glad we're bringing the fire to the summits. I'm going to give you the quick and dirty of how I
Yeah.
got who I am and how I got here. Kenny Rogers, remember Kenny
Oh,
Rogers?
yes.
He ruined my wedding anniversary, and that's how I got here. So you're like, what? I spent, Elaine, almost 2 decades, or actually a little over 2 decades in live event marketing. And what I discovered on my fifth wedding anniversary, as my husband serenaded me in the kitchen, I was giving up my marriage, my wedding anniversary, because I had Kenny Rogers concert that night and I had to work. And
Mm.
so I had been choosing my career for 2 decades over my relationships. And it was like a dagger into my heart. And sort of
Mm.
that was, a lot of times, particularly with solopreneurs and small business owners, it was like there's the before time and the after time, that sort of line in the sand. And for me, Kenny Rogers ruining my fifth wedding anniversary was kind of the line in the sand where I was like, you know what? Something's got to change, and it's
Yeah.
got to start with me in my life. And so that's who I am. I throw Kenny Rogers under the bus.
Mm. Girl. I love it. I'm not even gonna lie. Not even gonna lie. So one of the things, Wendy is actually I'm in an accountability group with her. She does this thing called the 90-day slay. And one of the things that she really focuses on is like reaching your goals without burning out. Can you talk a little bit about burnout and why business owners love burnout? We don't want to love burnout, but we do. And we just wind up there all the time, it feels like.
And here's the thing. So there really is burnout is kind of a hot topic right now. I think it seems it's a little more in the awareness. But there really are there's this 12 stages of burnout. And I think entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, just based on who they are and that they really they're driven by something, they're definitely more prone to fall into, kind of trip into burnout. Um, and burnout can, like I said, there's sort of these 12 stages, but really it starts out with just being having this compulsion to sort of prove yourself and
Mm.
really demonstrating your worth obsessively, raise his hand. Who doesn't feel that when they start a business? But
Yeah.
as you continue to get more and more burnt out, it turns into a level of depression where full, true depression, and that's where I got to that true sort of withdrawing and depression and in my own burnout. But who we are as business owners, because we're so driven by this desire to create something, and most of the entrepreneurs that I work with, I know, same with you, Elaine, they really want to make the world a better place, and that's a big vision, right? And
Yeah.
we don't want to half-ass it. I can say that with you. I hope I can say
Yes.
that.
Girl, it's called the Bitch and Brainstorm podcast. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. But we really were driven to make the world a little bit of a better place. But when we do that, I think the one key for me, Elaine, that I don't know if I'm getting off topic, but the
No.
one thing that I really sort of, the big idea that I had that kind of changed everything for me is when we recognize that who you are in life is who you are in business. And so when you are neglecting your humanness, right, you can't have a broken person running your business. And I think really, if you think about it like this, I really want people to think about it like this. How you treat yourself is how you treat your key employee. Really
Mm,
sit with that and think about that.
mm,
Right? If you had a, like, back when I was in corporate America, I had those key employees who were like my go-tos. Whatever they needed, I made sure they had. I would not expect them to work 14, 16, 18-hour days, no sleep, not see their family, right? And then expect them to be my superstars. And
right.
so when we really recognize how you treat yourself,
Mhm.
is how you're treating your key employee, that can change everything.
Yes. I experienced my very first burnout when I was a photographer, and what it didn't lead to depression, but it lent itself to sciatica. So the
Mm,
universe forcing me to slow down. But then it turned into resentment
yeah.
where I was like, oh God, I have a photo shoot today. I Nobody should feel that way. Like, oh God, I have to go do this thing in my business right now. If
Right.
you're saying that and you're feeling like, oh God damn it, I don't want to go do this. It's time to take a moment and reevaluate what the fuck are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
Because that is not how we should be showing up to serve and showing up to help. And I had to fake enthusiasm. Ew, that
And
is
you can't
disgusting.
and you can't, right? Like you
No.
can't, I mean, authenticity always comes through. And so
Yeah,
when you're showing up, right? When we talk about who you are in life is who you are in business, when you show up as a fraud, it's evident in the work.
girl, I'm just saying
Girl.
I should have won an Oscar for that performance. And this is how I knew I was done. This is how I knew I was done was I had decided, like, I was at an event, Polka Dot Powerhouse celebration in Boston 2019, and all of a sudden I'm the event photographer, and all of a sudden this wave comes over me and it's like, this is not bringing you joy. What the hell are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm done. Like, all of a sudden it was a light
Yeah.
bulb that gave me like
Yeah.
permission to let it go. And then I had one photo shoot left, and I should have won an Oscar performance because I didn't want to do it, but I I wasn't it was literally 2 days later that I had this photo shoot
Mm.
at my house. And I was like, well, I guess I'm going to just do it, or I'm just going to suffer through it. And I did it, but damn, like it was I should have won an award. Um I should have won an award. So, can you talk about, like, what do we do when we discover that we are burned out? Like, what do we do next?
Yeah, so great question, because the goal is to catch yourself when you're in sort of these earlier stages, right? Like you're not in that deep depression, because then you really need you need, not clinical help, but you need like legit, right? Like when you get to that point. But when you find yourself in the burnout, that really the thing to focus on is healing yourself, focusing on getting back into an alignment, stepping away as much as you can, which is so scary for
Mm.
entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. Like, how do we do that? How do we step away? And that's where you really that's where you have to offload and, do your automations, do the delegation, and really downshift your business as much as possible, so that you can focus on getting back to a place where, you enjoy the work, that you love the work. And if you
Yes.
can't, I
Mm,
mean, look, let's be honest, Elaine, you were talking about your photography business.
mhm.
For me, it was my marketing coaching. Like, you get to a point where you're like, you know what, this is not an alignment. It
Yep.
took me burning out to recognize that, and
Yep.
then being honest with yourself, and, what is it that I want to do?
Mhm.
There is nothing wrong with changing gears. Like, can we
Yes.
just say that there is nothing wrong with changing
Yes.
gears? And
Yes.
when you get to that burnout place, that's a big red flag that, you're not in alignment, right? You're
Yes.
giving too much. There's not integrity. And when I say integrity, I really mean like integration, right?
Mhm.
It's not about moral
Yeah.
being more, but it's like having that wholeness in your business and your life.
Mhm. One of the best gifts I gave to myself was permission to change my damn mind, right? That
Yes.
I
Yes.
could decide that, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Right? It's like sometimes being a business owner is like trying on different pairs of pants and
Well,
shoes and trying to figure out which one fits. And
that's
it's
right.
okay to say, that doesn't fit right. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and there's so much tied into um pride and sort of regret of like, I started this business, I started my photography business, and if I quit, I'm a failure. No, it was an experiment,
Yep.
right? It's all
All
experimentation.
an
We
experiment. Yes.
tried, didn't work out. I'm gonna try something else now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just keep trying until you find the thing that
That's
fits.
right. That's
Miss
right.
Wendy, I am so excited to have you as part of our summit, as working with you personally, like knowing the value that you bring and the perspective you bring to this, get shit done mantra. I'm just so excited to have you. So thank you so much for being a part of our panel, and everybody come and be a part of that on April 20th. You will not regret it. Remember, 9:25 a.m. Pacific time, and we will see you guys later. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Elaine.